Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Two Brothers, Same Mother. We're doing the Zoom thing today.
Absolutely.
Because AJ's not feeling well, probably because he watched the full game on Sunday against the Giants.
Yeah.
I will say this. I have a whole closet full of Eagles jerseys. I had to go back to the Hugh Douglas to wear something on the D-line that I was proud of because well, let's just do this. Normally we do what went right, what went wrong. What went right, my cable didn't go out, and the rain didn't come in. I don't know if there's anything else you want to add that went right.
Well, to me, what went right, there was three things. I know, right? I really had to dig deep.
Are you using Miles' first name, middle name, and last name for 1, 2, 3?
Right. Oh, no, and then you can say because you got Boston Scott. He had that nice run. But honestly, the three things that I saw was the run game. But there was two things, and that was to our quarterback. First game this season, he had 0 turnovers. And also, he didn't take those crazy chances. There was a bunch of times he threw the ball out of bounds. He got sacked, but when he got sacked, it was because the pressure was in there. It wasn't unnecessary sacks. So yeah.
I was going to wait on this because I actually got a bunch of questions I was going to ask you that I've heard other media members, I've heard the stations in Philadelphia say and stuff like that. And I just want to bring it up because you brought up this point. Someone had mentioned that a prominent person in Philadelphia, I don't want to celebrate a quarterback for being mediocre.
Wentz get in trouble when he's trying to do them extraordinary plays, right?
No,
when does Wentz cause the turnovers when he's trying to make something happen out of nothing? When does Wentz get sacked when he's holding on to the ball because he's trying to create something? What I've come to realization is nothing this kid does will ever be good enough. We have been begging for him to play within the system because it's obvious that Doug Peterson refuses to create a system around his quarterback or make his system to benefit his quarterback. So now Carson, all we've been hearing from Carson is I got to do better. I got to stop taking sacks. I got to throw the ball away. I got to protect the football.
Which he all did yesterday.
And then he does it, and then they go, well, he didn't do anything to win us the game.
Well, another argument I heard from Ray Dininger, who we all respect, the Hall of Famer, rightfully deserved.
Yes.
Was that against who I think the Giants were 30th or 31st in defense, if I'm not mistaken. I know they are
against the
pass. That there wasn't any deep shots called. Carson Wentz came out and said, well, you can't throw the ball deep against this team, which, I'll get to how I personally feel about it really quick as soon as I finish this. And Ray Dininger's point was that deep shots were not put into the game plan because Doug Peterson does not trust Carson Wentz to make the right decision. My personal opinion is that's a whole lot of just assuming, and that I think Carson Wentz was trying to protect his coach. That's just my opinion.
All due respect to Ray Diddy, he must have been on his old man that because Carson, if I recall, Carson threw the ball like 4 times deep. 3 of them to Rager, one time to Fogle, and they were all incomplete. He took 4 deep shots. And to say to simplify it, so I guess a hurry-up offense, no-huddle offense is to simplify it.
I also disagreed with his point. I was just curious of what you want to say about that.
No. Yeah, because I'm like, while you're saying that, I was like, wait a minute. He did take a couple chances downfield. He did try to force. That's number one. Number two, was he watching that O-line play? That was probably the most pressure. That's the third most game I've seen him under pressure. One, he was under the Baltimore game, the Redskins game, and that game. Let's just go to what went wrong, right?
So what I was going to do was ask some questions about what went wrong, but it sounds like you want to dive deep. There's a bunch of meat in the bone, so I'm just going to let you talk first, and then I'll ask some of the questions as we're going on.
Well, once again, kind of like what went right. What went wrong? So Jason Kelce has been a top 3 center the last decade, every year. And his snaps, like, and it wasn't every snap. I mean, it was just about every snap. It was almost rolled to him. It looked like they were doing a single wing. But the issue is after I went back, yes, I was brave enough to go watch that again. Because I was like, man, Kelsey just can't be that bad. The issue is that the left guard, Odapita or whatever, Opita,
He's
was
awesome.
was so bad that there was so much pressure getting back that Kelsey was rushing his snaps.
I was thinking that watching it live, but I didn't want to make
Yeah,
excuses for the guy. But yeah,
but that's what it definitely looked like. And not to mention that nose guard. And kudos to the Giants because if you remember, Opita started um, against the Giants last time, and he struggled and everything, but it was his first start. So good film study by the D line coach of the Giants to be able to exploit that. And I kept texting you guys. I was just like, hey, it looks like the Giants were the ones that were the ones on a bye week and preparing for this. There were zero adjustments made by the Eagles. Actually, um, the only person that looked like he made the adjustment to anything was Carson Wentz. Was just like, okay, this is what you want. You want me to get rid of the ball. You want me to not take chances. You want me to play within the system, and that's what he did. And we got boring football, and now we're crucifying him for it.
normally when a ball sails high, quarterbacks throwing the ball, it usually has to do with them setting their feet. Am I correct on that? If the feet's not set, maybe they're throwing off their back. Something's wrong with the mechanic there.
Yeah, there's something going on with the mechanics. Yes.
Um, would you say that this particular game that he missed a couple receivers high because of the lack of protection that he had, and therefore he wasn't really able to set his feet?
There was a couple. There was one early in the game where he missed. It may have been the Alshon throw. I can't remember, but it was early in the game where he missed high. It wasn't because his foot was set. It was because the defensive tackle the nose guard literally jumped up in his arm, and you looked, and Carson couldn't sidearm it or anything. So it looked like Carson kind of did one of these to try to get it over his hand so he didn't have the batted ball. But that's why a lot of them. It's crazy because I think we had the most drops
Seven.
yesterday. 7, right? Well, 7 or 8, right?
7. Yep.
7, yeah. So
Once you get
that's
beyond 5, it's rough.
right, yeah. And it was 7, and it was just like, man. So, so with the O line, I mean, and so I've been screaming for a zone since week 2, since we've had all these injuries on the O line in and out, because it doesn't take a whole lot of as far as who to pick up, who to block, you get what I'm saying? You have so many. It's a zone blocking scheme. You're at tackle. If you're playing left tackle, you got your outside shoulder, and you got the B gap. If you're a guard, you got this B gap. It's you got the A gap.
If you're familiar, the zone blocking scheme is what Mike Shanahan did with the Denver Broncos for so many years. That worked out really well with the run, but also with the pass. And people forget that the passing game was a zone blocking that worked really well too. Mike Shanahan did something else with that John Elway quarterback as well, which we'll get into in a second, that Doug Peterson refuses to do.
And it's crazy because I have been preaching it, but I have reached out to guys that I respect, that coach at levels that I've never coached at, that were like totally agree. Text coaches that coach at the college level totally agree. Because I just wanted to be sure that I was just like, yo, am I just being a fan and thinking I know what I'm talking? But like in this situation, like when you have that, you have to go to a zone block. Like this, and they refuse to do it. Like it's like, come on, man. And then you're getting Carson killed and hit. I mean, we lost this game in the trenches.
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt. Every play, and I was texting you this, every offensive play, the defensive line, no exaggeration, was getting pushed back 4 yards. The plays that they didn't, we stopped them for a loss. I mean, they were getting pushed back a good 4 to 5 yards on almost every run play. And on the offensive line, they were getting so much pressure rushing forward. And this is not the '07 Giants or the 2011 Giants. These D-line, Leonard Williams used to be a first-round pick that the Jets of all teams gave up on. Not because he was talking smack or whatever, because he wasn't productive. That's probably the one D lineman that you would know out of the Giants' 4 defensive linemen.
They were blitzing one backer or they would blitz a corner. So they constantly sent 4. But it was like, come on, man. Like, we had 5. We had 5 offensive linemen. 5. And they were sending 4. And every once in a while they send an all-out blitz. This is probably the best game we actually had running the ball. As far as I'm sorry, I didn't look completely at the stats. And this may not have been Miles Sanders' best statistical game as far as yards, but, you know, people look at the yards they had against Pittsburgh and Baltimore. Most of those yards were on one play. He was getting chunk yardage. He was averaging like 7-8 yards a carry.
Yeah, I mean, he had 15 carries for 85 yards. So doing quick math, that's like 5.5 yards a carry.
Right.
And a couple of those carries only went for 1 yard. I'm sorry.
Right. But it was crazy. But the thing is, and where I'm going with this is, when we're not running the ball, a majority of our passes, say Wentz passes 50 times, right? 30 of them will be play action passes. The one game where we're actually getting off it, running the ball in chunks, no play action.
Listen, I mean, Miles Sanders had 15.
One screen ran. You have an aggressive line that is pinning their ears back. Not one screen play ran. Not one misdirection play ran. And once again, you're averaging 5.5 yards in per carry, and you didn't run that one play action.
So here's the thing. Just some quick stats to back that up. Miles Sanders averaged 5.7 yards a carry with a long of 14. Boston Scott averaged 21 yards a carry. His long was 56, but still, I mean, you take away
as a team.
Yeah, and Corey Clement had 1 carry for 5 yards and a touchdown. Boston Scott had a touchdown. Corey Clement had a touchdown, and yet Carson Wentz dropped back 37 times, and it wasn't like we were far behind. Or excuse me, he had 37 attempts. He dropped back more than that. It wasn't like we were that far behind. He got sacked 3 times, so that's 40 pass plays. We weren't. It wasn't a game where you had to pass 40 times, and once again, very windy game, and you just want to – I want to give you a stat that drove me nuts. I know it's going to drive you nuts because Carson Wentz passing game, what's the one thing you would do to help this kid out?
Move the pocket.
Move the pocket. So let me ask you something. Just to use me here. When do you think was the first time I was about to say Andy Reid, Doug Peterson called the play that moved the pocket yesterday?
Probably third quarter, late third quarter.
6:17 left in the third.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what? The Giants are 26th in the league in defending plays where the quarterback is outside of the pocket. 26th, okay? They have a horrible pass defense as well. There's only one guy, honestly, on that whole defensive backfield that is decent, and that's Bradbury. And, I mean, he had a really good game. You know what I mean? When he's good, he's good. But that is it. And Doug Peterson is just like, nope, I'm going to do what I want to do, and that's it. And that gets me to the coaching stuff because, honestly, this coaching staff from the head with Doug Peterson to the guy that has the water, I mean, they were awful. And I understand, I hear some stuff, COVID and a couple people. And, do you know who was coaching the D-line yesterday?
Who?
Connor Barwin. He is an assistant to, like, his first year or second year as an assistant to Howie Roseman in the front office, and you have him coaching the D-line. What are you doing? Come on, man. Like, it's driving me nuts. So I asked this question to you because my thought is this, and I try to just simplify it, okay, where people want to choose between Doug Peterson and Carson Wentz. And Doug, don't think I haven't noticed you're trying to throw Carson Wentz under the bus more and more with these little sly comments and all that. We're not talking the Brett Favre thing. I'm talking about the comment about on 4th and 10 where you had one-on-one with Jalen Reagor and Bradbury and the pass was there, and you try to say, well, you got to look at the progressions. No. Don't try to blame this on Carson. Okay?
He didn't have to. He hiked it and just heaved it downfield, hoping to get a PI because the pressure was in his lap.
But yet you blame it. And meanwhile, I'm hearing people, when Carson says we didn't deserve the win, I heard one particular person said that they should do a Willie Beeman and the offensive line shouldn't protect him because he was throwing the offensive line and his teammates under the bus. First off, they're not protecting him anyway. Secondly, I don't know, how dare you? But anyway, I'm gonna calm down.
It's obvious, like I said when we started, it's obvious that no matter what Carson does, Carson can have a game. He could go 29 for 31 for 450 yards and 5 touchdowns, and they'll focus on the 3 passes that he missed.
So I'm going to ask you a couple quick questions. There's 3 questions I want to ask, and then I want you to respond to all 3. Okay.
Okay.
These 3 questions, and then I'll have your response. A, if Doug Peterson has a better quarterback, do you think he coaches better? B, if Carson Wentz has a better head coach or a better coaching staff, do you think he ends up playing quarterback? And C, do you think actually, I guess it's 4 questions. Do you think time is running out for Carson Wentz and Doug Peterson in Philadelphia?
What was question?
Question 1, would Doug Peterson be a better coach with a better quarterback?
No.
Would Carson Wentz be a better quarterback with a better coach?
Yes.
Is time running out in Philadelphia for Doug Peterson?
Yes.
Is time running out in Philadelphia for Carson Wentz?
No.
So, to me, it's very, very simple, people. If you don't think that Doug Peterson is going to coach better with a better quarterback, and you think Carson Wentz would play quarterback better with a better coach, I mean, it's simplified it. Then obviously we need to figure out how to either A, get rid of Doug Peterson altogether. I don't know if Doug Peterson's time is up. I'm starting to feel that way. And I feel like if he goes somewhere else, he might be better. He might be a coordinator somewhere or something. But it is becoming more and more obvious to me that Carson Wentz needs better structure and needs a better head coach, and that he would be a lot better. And that's just my opinion. But I brought that up because that was the main question on the Philadelphia Daily News about Doug Peterson. Is Doug Peterson's time running out?
So here's my thing. First of all, the first coach that should be thrown out that fucking door is Jim Schwartz.
Jim Schwartz.
Period.
Yes.
Jim Schwartz is horrible. There's no excuse for that defense to look like that when we have no significant injuries on defense. The second thing is I'm not going to say fire Doug, but kind of like what the Chicago Bears did, and I think the ownership did that with Nagy, was something needs to happen. You need to give up your play calling duties, and if not, you'll be fired. I think Jeffrey Lurie needs to step in and tell Doug that he needs to give a play. Because here's the thing. Andy Reid is a rare coach that did it. Andy Reid was able to – you would see Andy when offense, he would go over and talk to his quarterbacks and stuff like that. You never see Doug. Even when Nick was out there, you didn't see Doug go do that. Carson doesn't go over there and talk to him. You know what I mean? Like, you are a quarterback. This is your system. Your play calling. You got to get on the same page and know what he's seeing as a play caller. You're doing it by he's sitting next to Sudfeld and Hurts, who was a rookie, and I can't think of the quarterback's coach. Press Taylor. They're sitting next to it, and then Press Taylor. So Carson's telling Press Taylor what he's seeing. Press Taylor's going to Doug what he's seeing. Doug's telling Press Taylor what he needs Carson to look at. No, as a play caller, you need to see what they're seeing. Period. And you're not. So my personal opinion is if when it comes to Doug Peterson, if he's not willing to give up his play calling duties, then yeah, he needs to go.
Does this team have a plan for Hurts?
Open and drive. Yes, we got a first down on it, but come on, like there's no reason. Like the only time I ever really been like, I'm glad they actually ran that was in the Baltimore game where we couldn't get a first down and it kind of gave us a spark offensively. Other than that, like like if you're not, it seems like you're just doing it just to be doing it.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
know what I mean?
if
It's basic football that our coaching staff is horrible at. It's basic. It's nothing. It's basic.
one more question I'll ask you. I tell you, you're keeping Carson Wentz, you're keeping Miles Sanders, you're keeping Carson Wentz, and then you're keeping anybody else that's probably under the age of 26. I think Darius Slay's under 26. Is that right?
I think he's like 27.
Okay. And you keep Brandon Graham. So Slay, Graham, Wentz, and then of course anybody that's under the age of 25. So your Sanders, your receivers.
Uh-huh.
Is it time to give up on everybody else on the roster? Like it. Really, my question is: is it time to blow up this team?
Half your defensive line needs to go. You need 2 starting linebackers. Like I said, I'm cool with Edwards being a starter. So you need 2 starting linebackers. I think you do need to find another corner on the outside and move Maddox because Maddox actually was really good as a nickel. Move
You need to find a safety.
Huh?
And you need to find a safety.
No. Here's the thing.
You gonna keep McLeod?
You just re-sign McLeod to like a 3-4 year deal.
I thought we only signed him to a 2-year deal.
Okay, but he had a year left on his contract. He got a 2-year extension, so he got another 2 more years after this.
I mean,
Right.
I do think Kayvon Wallace could play better safety than Jalen Mills has.
Well, yes, it's okay. Will Parks.
Yeah, I mean, Will Parks. I'm not sold on Will Parks just because I just haven't seen enough of him. And I know your thing is that just about anybody's better than Jalen Mills. So
at this point, and it's crazy because Jalen, man, listen, man. To my left, there's an autographed picture, courtesy of you for Christmas, of signed autograph of Jalen Mills. So it's not like I wasn't a Jalen Mills fan. It's just, dude, you do. So
we always have him pushing Julio Jones out of bounds, so that way we continue that Super Bowl.
Right.
So we're gonna do is it real or is it fantasy? We're not gonna talk about fantasy football. What we're gonna do? Everybody's played 8 games.
5-pack challenge.
What's that? I got that coming up. I'm gonna do that right before the picks. Okay. We're going to do midseason awards. Everybody's played 8 games. You all right?
Yeah. When you said midseason awards, I was like, for the Eagles?
No.
Are they all doo-doo awards?
And I'm going to start with MVP. Russell Wilson has had a couple really bad games. Kyler Murray has been up and down. Aaron Rodgers, up and down. Lamar, what he did against the Patriots. Who's your MVP? Or who? No. Not who's your MVP for mid-year. Who are you predicting? Let me rephrase this. Who are you predicting to be MVP by the end of the year?
DeAndre Hopkins is my dark horse.
Gotcha. And who would be your who you think would win overall?
If he keeps playing the way he's playing, Dalvin Cook.
Dalvin Cook's actually my dark horse. I think that if he keeps playing, but I think they'll keep it simple and probably give it to Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, probably.
I
like to think. I don't like to think the obvious. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but honestly, if the Vikings go 6-2 in their next 8, and it's because of Dalvin Cook, I don't see how he doesn't win the MVP. I don't want to hear about Brady. Don't want to hear about Mahomes. How could you not give him the MVP?
Yeah.
Offensive Rookie Player of the Year.
Offensive Rookie. It's a toss-up. I'm just going to go with Herbert.
Because you got, and just to give you an idea, you got Herbert, you got Burrow, you have Tua, Clyde Edwards-Helaire quietly is putting up a lot of numbers, and you still have the second half of the year.
Yeah, and it's crazy because in the beginning of the year, I was like, oh, that's Joe Burrow all the way.
Coach of the year.
If they win the division, even though our division is bad, but just how they're actually improving every week, Joe Judge.
See, I think it's Brian Flores in Miami.
So hey, listen, you can't go
But
wrong
that's
with
fine.
that.
But you can't go wrong with Joe Judge either. Listen, here's the thing.
They're every week they're getting better and better and better. That's what you want to see.
The Giants are 3-7. Okay, if Ingram catches that pass against us, they're 4-6. If that ref actually calls that pass interference against Tampa Bay, I truly believe then they're 5-5. And if they hold on against Dallas instead of just collapsing, now they're 6-4. Like, I think I got that right. 6-4. It's week 10. Yeah, they haven't had a bye yet. Like, this is a young team that is on the rise. They got some pieces back. So I could see Joe Judge being coach of the year. I mean, that's, and what I'm going to call the Wish Award, okay? This is for the personnel person that we as Eagles fans would wish would be part of the Eagles brass, whether it be head coach, assistant coach, D coordinator, offensive coordinator, or front office. And I'm going to start with mine. If I had it my way, I would bring in Eric Bieniemy if we could.
As an offensive coach?
My head coach. I'd get rid of Doug. I think Doug's done here, man.
Listen, I agree with you. I'm just on the verge of let's see what happens if he gives up the play calling duties. Let's see what happens. If he's willing to do that, then I'm willing to give him a season. If not, then you know what I mean?
I will, and I just want to double check his name. The other person that would be on my wish list, truth be told, I would love to grab Keith Butler to be our defensive coordinator, but he's not going to leave the Steelers for the Eagles for the same position. Rob Hartley, who is the linebackers coach for the Steelers, if we can make him our D coordinator, I would love that.
How about Marvin Lewis or Lovie Smith as a DC?
No. Oh my God. No. See, Lovie Smith is a dinosaur. When I say that, I mean by his scheme. Not he coaches Illinois in football, University of Illinois college football, and they're getting creamed defensively because he's running that cover 2 no matter what, stubborn. I mean, you don't want Lovie. Now, Marvin Lewis, that's an interesting one.
That's it. As a DC, not as a head coach. As a DC.
Yeah.
What about promoting Deuce to the head coach?
No, I don't think Deuce is ready for that. I would want to see him as an offensive coordinator first.
Yeah. So you're saying 2 running backs, Eric Bieniemy as a head coach and Deuce as the OC?
It'd be nice to see some running in here. I think if you did that, if you did that, you'd have to have a really good passing coordinator or something like that. But it would be nice to have somebody in their ear that's saying, "Hey, you got to pass the ball a little more." Like that would be.
And that's what I was saying about if he gave up his rights with Deuce,
it'd be great.
Because then Deuce would have that run first mentality, and then Doug or one of the other guys, all these passing people, would be like, "They want to pass it here." Like, you know what I mean? That's all.
I'll leave you one more. Do you have a pick for defensive player of the year?
I'm gonna go with T.J. Watt right now.
T.J. Watt would be my pick, honestly. But very quietly, Myles Garrett is having an excellent year. And I would say that if you look at the top 5 defensive players of the year, if everything continues, 4th or 5th might be Brandon Graham.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just that the defense is so porous around them. Our 5 pick of questions. I'm sorry. Okay. You can pick one player hold on. I actually haven't written down to it. You could pick one player in the NFL that you could put on the Eagles. Who would it be?
DeAndre Hopkins.
And it has nothing to do with that Hail Mary?
Yeah, no, nothing. No, honestly, you know who I would pick? I would probably pick. Oh my God. Probably on the defense, Watt or Ramsey to go opposite. No, I probably. You know what? I pick Jalen Ramsey to go opposite side of Slay.
I'd pick Myles Garrett, but that's just me.
Okay.
It's one of those questions that's
Brandon
hard to go
Graham, Miles
wrong with.
Garrett. That would
You
be
know,
that would be gross. That would definitely be gross.
go a little NBA. Draft is coming up
Okay.
this week. If you could make one trade for the Sixers, what would it be? Mine would be Al Horford for anything.
And Daryl Morey's wasted no time putting his fingerprints on the Sixers roster. The new Philly GM traded Al Horford and his big contract, along with a 2025 first-round pick and a second-round pick, 34th overall, to the Thunder for Danny Green and Terrence Ferguson, according to Adrian Wojnarowski.
Joel
good
Embiid.
question.
Joel Embiid to Golden State for Klay Thompson in the first-round pick.
Hours before the NBA draft last night, Klay Thompson injured his right leg during a workout with several NBA players in LA.
You giving up on JoJo?
Reason being, this is why.
I don't know if you're getting Klay Thompson and a first, because Klay Thompson is.
You said what if we could?
But I got you. Yeah.
So this is me putting on automatic trades on my 2K game. All trades approved. It's because I wouldn't want to, but you said if we had to. It would clear it out. It would allow Simmons to be able to drive and kick, and then you would have Tobias with the pop jump shot. You would have Klay. You would be able to, you know what I mean? You would just be able to.
I didn't know what you were going to say, but I wasn't expecting that. So that's interesting. Going back to the Eagles, who is the best? We talked about the best quarterback in Eagles history. Best running back, in your opinion, in Eagles history?
You're going to have to go with B. West. Oh!
Yeah, see, it's interesting.
You know what? I'm still going to go with B. West just because B. West also played would help us out in kickoff and punt returns too. He was also our returner, and then he also running. Yeah, I'll have to go with B. West. Regardless of the numbers, Shady was good, but Shady was just a running back. But yeah, I'll have to go B. West. And it's kind of like a 1A, 1B type deal, for real.
If totally outside of sports, if there was one show that you could bring back, okay, and it can't be like a live event thing, but what TV show would you bring back if you could bring any TV show back anytime in history?
Married with Children.
Married. I thought maybe you would go something like Sons of Anarchy or Game of Thrones or something like that.
No, I fully understand Al Bundy the older I get.
Yes, yeah. Listen, the no ma'am stuff that he did is still hilarious to me. Even though it's very un-PC, it's just so funny.
Hear ye, hear ye! I now call to order this meeting of No Ma'am, National Organization of Men Against Amazonian Masterhood.
If there was one thing that you wish Philadelphia would get, it could be anything, okay? What would it be?
Cure for COVID. We'll get the fuck out of this dumb shit.
Well, that's for the whole country. I mean, that's a good one. I think we all could go with that. Give me one more.
For Philadelphia?
Yes.
How about NBA title?
That's a nice one. Okay. Yeah, I mean, see, me personally, I would love for Philly to get a second baseball team. Because the Phillies aren't doing it right now, and I think it's because they don't have any competition. But if Philadelphia could have the Philadelphia A's again or something like that, I think it'd be cool to have two baseball teams.
Cool.
I don't think 2 football teams or 2 basketball teams would work, or 2 hockey teams, but 2 baseball teams I think could.
Maybe.
But if you're going to give them a title or something, you can't go wrong with that. So there's the 5-pack. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put them up on Facebook. Next week, we'll be able to go over some of your responses and some of that stuff as well during the show. So, Arizona at Seattle.
Arizona at Seattle. I'm going Arizona 28-24.
I got Arizona 27-21, so totally understandable. Atlanta at New Orleans.
Atlanta at New Orleans. I'm going New Orleans 23-27.
It's interesting because I have New Orleans too, 35-31. But I didn't think you were going to think it was that close. But, Atlanta seems like that type of team. It's almost like Eagles, Giants. It's always a close game, no matter what.
Yeah, right.
Cincy at the WFT, Washington Football Team.
Every week I pick the fucking Bengals and they get the ass kicked. Every week I pick the Bengals. I'm just waiting for them to. I'm not this week. I got the Washington Football Team 28-24.
I'm actually picking Cincy in this one. Alex Smith's been looking great. It's a great story, but I think I just don't think that they're going to be able to get in the end zone as much as they'd like. And Washington has nothing to lose, so there's going to be a lot of go for it on fourth down rather than kick the field goal. So I think Cincy wins 21-17, but it's going to be one of those games where you're like, man, if they would have just kicked a few more field goals, they would have won 27-21. Detroit at Carolina.
Now I want to stop sleeping on Carolina, so I'm going to go Carolina 27-30.
He chooses when they've on a 5-game losing streak to stop sleeping on them. Cool. I'm picking them too, though. 28-24. You know why? There's that guy that you don't like, Christian McCaffrey. He's back.
I didn't say I didn't like him.
He said they're going to just force the ball to him, and he's trash just like Julio Jones.
Yep. Both of them.
Tennessee at Baltimore.
Tennessee has been disappointing me, man. And I think Baltimore gets their redemption from that playoff humiliation. So I'm going to go 23-20 Baltimore.
I think Tennessee wins 27-24. I think, Ryan Tannehill is severely underrated, in my opinion. I think he's a decent quarterback. And it's – excuse me a second. What are you doing? Why are you up here? Go downstairs. Thank you.
Don't have these problems when you have cats.
Shit, cats try to kill you every morning.
Ah! Oh!
Are you trying to walk down the steps? Here you go. So yeah, but I think Tennessee wins 27-24. I think Tannehill actually has a good game. I think Derrick Henry, I want to say he's going to have about 75, 80 yards rushing. Patriots at Texans.
Patriots at Texans. Who the hell did I pick for that one? Oh, there it is. All right.
You only had two choices.
I actually picked New England to win that 24-21.
I got New England as well, 27-17, and they go on a 3-game winning streak. How about that? Miami at Denver.
I'm going Miami. Miami, too, is a balling. 28-21.
I have Miami 31-17, and I think it's that Miami D is going to clamp down. Drew Lock, man, people are down on Drew Lock. I don't think this is Drew Lock's issue. That's just my opinion on that. And if Denver tries to move on from Drew Lock already after the second year, it's a big mistake. The New York Jets I was about to say the LA Clippers. The LA Chargers.
I'm going Chargers 27-10.
Got the Chargers 38-21. I do think that the Jets will put up some yardage, some numbers. Jamison Crowder, another guy that, I know we don't need receivers, but he would be a nice veteran to have on this team, on the Eagles. Green Bay at Indianapolis.
I'm going to go Green Bay 27-20.
I got the Colts 27-24. So I think that D's going to step it up. They're in Indy. And I think Aaron Rodgers is starting to show some cracks. Dallas at Minnesota.
Oh, man, that's Minnesota 24-17. Sorry.
I got Minnesota 31-20. No need to go into why that is. Kansas City at Las Vegas.
I think Kansas City gets revenge on that earlier loss, 31-28.
I think this is going to be probably the funnest game that we'll see that weekend, be honest with you. I think Kansas City wins. They're just the team with the ball last, 38-34. The Rams at the Bucks.
I think this is going to be the funnest game of the weekend. I'm going Tampa Bay, 27-34.
I got Tampa 21-17. Pittsburgh at Jacksonville.
Pittsburgh, 28-10.
I got Pittsburgh 31-24. Doug Marrone is probably one of the most underrated coaches in the league. He has Gardner Minshew, makes him look great. He has this kid, Jake Luton's making him look great. They're not winning, but who is this kid? And they played the Packers close. They played the Texans close. It's amazing to me. And then we get to the Eagles against the Browns. The past 2 weeks in Cleveland, huge swirling wins. It might be like that this week as well. Cleveland scored 6 points 2 weeks ago in a 16-6 loss. Last week they lost they won 10-7. If there's swirling wins like that again, I have no faith in that Doug Peterson won't say, "Oh, swirling wins, let's throw it 40 times." But what is your pick?
3 weeks ago, I was yelling Super Bowl. I've completely lost faith in his coaching staff, not the players, the coaching staff. And I got Cleveland trouncing us 31-20.
I got Cleveland winning 28-20, and it's going to be one of those things where the Eagles score, and instead of kicking an extra point, they go for a 2-point conversion just because type deal. No, we got to be down by 6 as opposed to be down by 7, and Cleveland's not going to give the ball back. I want to see Doug Peterson put his foot in his mouth when he came out and talked about how pissed off he is, how upset he is. He's trying to throw the players under the bus by saying that, hey, I thought we were all prepared. And, then you come out and see that performance and all that. Dude, it's obvious you're feeling the heat. Good. I want to see what you do because you have one running back who has shown when you give him the ball consistently all year. Miles Sanders has averaged 5 yards a carry all year. Boston Scott has shown he can break one here and there.
Actually, real quick on Miles Sanders, I think coming into yesterday's game, even though he's missed 3 games this year, 3 I think, right? Yeah, 3 or 4 games this year. He was still the league. He's missed the last 2. He was still the league leader in yards per rusher. I think it was like 6.3.
Listen, if they stick with the run and they give the Eagles, you get 25 carries, then you have a really, really good chance of winning. I have no faith that they're going to do that. And that's really what it comes down to.
When the run isn't working, 60 to 70% of your passes that you throw are off of play action. When the run is actually working, you don't use a play action. It's crazy to me. It's just.
Any thoughts on anything else sports-wise? Obviously, I'm imagining you don't have any thoughts on the NBA, but anything else you want to add?
Hey, it looks like we could be getting locked down again. So hope everybody is safe, stays well, wear your mask. But if you're looking for something to keep your attention, Assassin's Creed Valhalla. It's open world map and it's a lot of stuff. It's trust me. I don't know if you guys can hear background music, but it's been on pause for the last while we've been recording.
Sure, a lot of people here would say, well, they're working their way through Call of Duty Cold War. But I agree with the Assassin's Creed. I think it's awesome. There's going to be a lot of good games coming out in the next couple months. So even if you don't have a PS5 or the Xbox, there's going to be a lot of good stuff coming out that will kind of keep our sanity.
Right.
But all right, y'all, like, subscribe, and just stay safe, people. All right.
All right.